Hey everybody, Dan and Jax here. And it is the weekend, which means it's movie time. Yeah. So we're on our last Poltergeist movie, Poltergeist III, made in 1988. We're going to check it out. We're going to give you a play-by-play, and I hope you enjoy it. All right? You ready? You ready? Ready? Let's do it. Oh, did you all have a good Halloween? No? Nothing? Alright. Let's watch the movie. Alright, folks. So let's go over what happened so far. So again, the movie follows Carol Ann, but this time she's in Chicago. And she's hanging out with her aunt, her uncle, and her cousin. And her uncle made a new building. And they're having some problems with it. They're tacking it up to just being a new building and working out the bugs. Carol Ann goes to a gifted school where she sees a psychologist about what happened to her in the past. And this dum-dum thinks that it's just she can manipulate. Oh, thank you. She can manipulate and cause mass hypnosis. And that's why everybody sees what they're seeing. Yeah, he's a dum-dum. Anyway, things are going wrong with the building. Weird things with the mirrors. After effects on the mirrors. Right? That's not right. Let's get back to the movie. Okay. Hey everybody. Let's go over what happened so far. So we find out that it's Kane again. Kane's doing all this business. Carol Ann's hearing Kane through the mirrors, calling out to her. Oh man, here we go. And her aunt and her uncle have to go to an art gallery opener, which leaves her cousin in charge. Her teenage cousin's going to watch her. Teenage cousin's name is Donna. So Donna's going to watch Carol Ann, but she wants to go to this party. And Carol Ann wants to be the cool cousin and says, hey, I can watch myself. You can go to the party. But, Carol Ann, you've already been to a different dimension twice, pulled into a different dimension by otherly spirits. So, yeah, sure. You can stay by yourself in a building that's already calling out to you. That makes sense, right? No, it doesn't. So Donna goes to this party, and she takes her dad's building keys because he's pretty much the whole architect of the building, and he's got access everywhere. She goes to this party. They're all having a good time. Carol Ann, meanwhile, is in the hotel room or building room or apartment or whatever you want to call it, by herself. Things are going crazy. Mirrors are grabbing her from the other side, dragging her all over the place. She's running around, trying to find some place to hide without mirrors. Oh, and Tangina, the little midget lady, she's back. She called to Carol Ann through the ether, and Carol Ann heard her. Back to Donna. She goes other places. She's trying to show off to her friends. They go into the pool. A locked pool, going to security, and that's where she sees Carol Ann running around in the parking lot. So they gotta go get Carol Ann. So Donna and Scott is Donna's love interest. They go and try to find Carol Ann in the parking lot that they saw her in the security cameras. They get to the level of the parking lot, and then they hear Carol Ann screaming. She's stuck in this puddle, like the literal half-inch puddle of water, getting sucked down into it, and they run over there. They're trying to pull her out, and these dead arms are pulling her in, and Scott gets pulled into the puddle, then Donna gets pulled into the puddle, and then Carol Ann gets pulled into the puddle. Right? Oh my goodness, this puddle is deep. But that's where we're at so far. Let's get back to the movie. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Oh man, a lot has happened. So Tangina calls Dr. Seaton. Dr. Seaton is the psychiatrist that's treating Carol Ann that doesn't believe her and thinks she's full of pranks and tricks and lies. And again, he thinks that Tangina's lying, so he goes to meet with Bruce and Patricia, who are Carol Ann's aunt and uncle. He says Carol Ann's up to her old tricks, and Bruce is like, no, she's being watched. And then here comes security saying, oh no, there's a whole bunch of teenagers in the pool and they're not supposed to be there. So he goes over to the pool, he kicks them out, And as he's about to leave, he looks back and the pool is frozen solid. And then out pops Scott, completely frozen. And he runs around. He's... He looks back and the pool is not frozen. And Scott is no longer frozen. But he is terrified. In walks Dr. Seaton. Yeah. So Dr. Seaton stays with Scott, and then Bruce and Patricia go to find Carol Ann, thinking that she's in her room, all the way up in their apartment. They go up there, they hear Carol Ann yelling and screaming through the door. The door is like mesh. She's trying to reach her hands through the door. Patricia reaches in, grabs her, and then Bruce is pulling on Patricia. They're having a big old tug of war, pulling back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And then up walks Tangina, and Tangina's like, "That's not Carol Ann." And they're like, "What?" And they look back, and then the creature that's reaching out looks up, and it's Kane in a Carol Ann body. Weirdest looking thing I've ever seen. Oh, man. Tangina's like, "Oh, we got some stuff to do." But how are you going to trust Tangina? Twice already she said it's done, and it's not done. Right? Oh, so Tangina's calling to Carol Ann through the mirror, saying, "Carol Ann, come to the mirror, come to this side. We all want you to come over this side." Meanwhile, Dr. Seaton joins them. And Carol Ann's standing. They can see her in the mirror, but they can't see her in real life. She's just standing there playing with her little toys. And he's like, "Come on, Carol Ann, come on through the mirror. Come through the mirror." It's all Tangina's saying. And Carol Ann's paying no mind. And finally, Bruce gets mad. He's like, "Hey, get your ass over here." And he tries to reach through the mirror. And Tangina's like, "No." And then that Kane Carol Ann mix grabs Tangina, and she's instant corpse. Instantly dead. Falls to the ground. And then through the corpse crawls out Donna. Through the corpse. Crazy. So Donna's screaming, yelling, "Carol Ann's drowning, Carol Ann's drowning." So they rush Donna to the bathtub. They wash off the corpse bits and then put her in bed. She's still freaking out. At this point, Patricia, Carol Ann's aunt, is like, "Forget this. Let's just leave. Forget Carol Ann. That's not even my daughter. Come on, let's go." And Bruce is like, "That's your niece. What are you talking about?" And then he sees in the mirror Carol Ann running away. So he goes to chase after Carol Ann. Patricia goes to chase after Bruce. Dr. Seaton then sees another Carol Ann in the mirror. And he chases after her. And he goes to the elevator, where he sees Carol Ann in the mirror in the elevator. And she smiles. And he's trying to force open the door. He forces open the door. And then he gets pushed by Donna. And he dies. And that's not Donna. And then Scott comes up. And that's not Scott. Oh my God, what's going on? Back to the movie. Yeah. Okay, so Dr. Seaton's dead. Donna's not Donna. Scott's not Scott. Bruce and Patricia, they try to go follow Carol Ann, or what they think is Carol Ann, into a freezer. And they get locked in the freezer. And then things start bubbling up from the wall. I know, it's like they're about to drown, but sideways. It's crazy. The water's getting closer and closer and closer. And then Tangina reaches through the water to hand them a necklace. And she's like, "Outside in." That's all she said, was "outside in." And then the door opens up and they're transported into the garage and they have to fight frozen cars, and then they get transported somewhere else. There's a lot of transportation happening. And then one of Patricia's coworkers is like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" And he says, "Donna just called. She said her and Carol Ann are upstairs in the room waiting for you." So they go and check up, and they go, "Oh, it's over." So Bruce and Patricia think it's all over. They're laughing, they're smiling, they're hugging. They're going on the elevator up to the apartment to go meet up with Donna and Carol Ann. And then Kane busts through the elevator mirror. And they're like, "No, it's not over. It was a trick." Oh, man. They get up to the floor. They find Dr. Seaton. He's dead in the elevator, or on top of the elevator. And he looks like he's been dead for 100 years. And then Bruce is like, "Wait a minute. Tangina said outside in. That means he controls the inside. We need to go on the outside." So they go to the top floor. They go on the outside. And he grabs a shovel. He's about to bust through a window with all this smoke and nastiness. And he gets pulled in, leaving Patricia with the necklace all by herself. And then Carol Ann and her have a little heart-to-heart through the mirrored glass. Carol Ann's like, you never wanted me. You don't love me. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go with Kane. He wants me. He loves me. Like, you know, like a really bad ex-boyfriend. An abusive ex-boyfriend. So, after the little heart-to-heart, Patricia gets teleported into their apartment where she's talking to Kane in the mirror again. Or she's not talking to Kane. Kane looks like he's evil. He's about to come for her. He's trying to get the necklace. From her. I don't know if I described the necklace. The necklace is what Tangina wore. She said it has powers. Anyway, she's like, no. Then all of a sudden, Tangina pops up, and she's like, follow me, Kane. I know how to get to the light. I'll show you how to get there. I mean, it's been 3 movies. You'd think they know how to get there. It's a light. You just head towards it. It's not that hard. But she takes Kane into the light, and then Kane goes into the light, Tangina goes into the light, and then pops Bruce, Donna, and Carol Ann walking from the mirror towards Patricia. And they come through, and they're all happy ever after. But what happened to Scott? All right. I know. The movie's over. They never describe what happened to Scott. Scott's got to be dead somewhere. I don't know what happened. But let's talk about the real Poltergeist curse. So in all 3 movies, one main character has died either within the year of, before the movie is released or after the movie is released. In the first movie, Dana, the older sister, she was murdered after the movie was done. In the second movie, the guy that played Kane, he died of cancer before the movie was released. And in Poltergeist III, the little girl that plays Carol Ann, she died before the movie was released. Now, is that spooky or what? I mean, pretty crazy stuff. We did it, though. All 3 Poltergeist movies done. I think I'm going to take a little break now. Catch us again next weekend. We'll start some new movies. I think I'm going to go back to the old review style, though. These are getting a little bit too long. Say bye. Say see you next weekend. Bye-bye. Bye.